Salmon. Do you like salmon? I love salmon. I'm here writing a diet for another lady that loves salmon, but I thought maybe I would take the opportunity to tell you that all salmon is not created equal. Okay, for one, let's talk about oceans. If your salmon comes from the Atlantic Ocean, it is farmed salmon. Okay, you got Pacific and Atlantic, but all Atlantic salmon is farmed because basically they ran out of salmon. Okay, the bad news is, often higher in calories. Often these fish are fed certain stuff that makes them bigger and fatter, like the food industry generally, right? Although I guess there is some good news, and some of the fisheries are actually using more of a plant-based food, and that whole farm fish is supposedly getting better. But again, Atlantic salmon is definitely farmed. Going to the other ocean now, let's go to the Pacific. The Pacific has, one, two, three, 5 types. Is that right? Let me go through them. So the top of the chain for the Pacific salmon is the king salmon, or the Chinook. So these fish can be like over 100 pounds. They're huge. They can be like 5 foot. And the king salmon, or the Chinook salmon, is probably classed as the best salmon you can have, as the name kind of suggests. You have the sockeye salmon. I am not a fan of this salmon. It's the particularly red salmon, has more of a fishy flavor. It has a pretty strong scent. I think you either love it or hate it. Mostly it is fished in Alaska. You have the coho silver salmon, called silver salmon because it's got the silver back on it. It's got more of a subtle flavor than the sockeye. It is so flavor usually goes with fat, so it's got a more subtle flavor and it's got a little bit less fat. Then you have the pink salmon. The pink salmon you can identify because it's got a humpback. Sometimes it's called humpback salmon because you can see the humpback on it. It is definitely lower, definitely in flavor. It's just a smaller fish. The humpback pink salmon are only, max out at about 6 pounds each, compared to the king salmon, which are chugging around at over 100 pounds. And then we have the CHUM salmon, which doesn't even sound good. If you get canned salmon, it's usually the CHUM salmon. Although I guess what it is known for is the roe. So the eggs of the CHUM salmon is usually the type of salmon eggs used in salmon caviar, if that matters. Anyway, it is a choice. Atlantic salmon is farmed. I kind of like it, but it is getting better, but just know it is farmed. Pacific salmon is wild. The top of the chain is the king or Chinook salmon. The sockeye is very popular. It's that really red salmon, but if you've ever had salmon and you say, oh, I don't like it, it's too fishy, you probably had the sockeye salmon, and maybe try one of the others. Anyway, loaded with omega-3, so I'm a huge fan, and I probably eat it at least 3 or 4 times a week.